Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Opal kicks us off in D.C. Opal, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. How can we help today?
So I am recently out of the military, and I currently go to school full-time while working. My goal is to apply for medical school next year, but I want to graduate with no student loan debt. So my question would be, would Airbnb arbitrage be a good idea for an additional income?
Oof. Anytime the word arbitrage is spoken out loud, a puppy stops wagging its tail.
Oh, my gosh.
You know what I mean? It's very risky.
Yeah.
And I assume you know that because you're calling us saying, is this a good idea?
I do.
Where do you get the idea that this is going to be the ticket?
Well, I work part-time right now while going to school, and I'm a reservist still. And I guess I'm just looking for a way to up my income, but I don't really have the time because of everything that I'm doing.
Okay. And to make sure we're on the same page about the definition of arbitrage here, you're talking about, hey, I rent from a landlord, and then I'm going to list this place that I'm renting on Airbnb, and then I will make a spread. So if I'm paying $1,200 a month in rent, I'm going to make $1,600 through Airbnb net of fees, and I'll make that $400 spread.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Number one, it's hard to find any landlord who will agree to this. And number two, doing it behind their back is what's known as illegal. And so therein lies the biggest problem, is just finding a situation.
Yeah, subleasing is even hard at times to even find a sublease, but let alone short-term rentals. I mean, it would be difficult to find, and there's so much risk with that. There's so much risk of the turnover of having somebody there for a night or two or a week at a time. And then you would be the one, talk about a part-time job, unless you pay a management company, if you found a way to do this, then they're going to take majority of the spread anyways. So what's hard about this is it's one of those ideas that gets spread, especially on social media, where it feels...
Because it sounds so good.
And it sounds easy.
You don't even need to own property, and you can have passive income.
Yeah, and to your point, Opal, you're like, I don't have a lot of time. But listen, if it really worked, everyone would be doing it. Everyone would be doing it. But they're not, and for good reason. Either because they legally can't find a landlord that will do it, and or you actually weigh out the reality of real life when you do this, and it's not worth the risk, because then if you end up getting on the hook for this rent, if you don't have anyone for 2 months, I mean, there's just so many cases, so many things happening.
And then where do you live?
So it's one of the hard.
Are you going to live with these strangers?
No, I live in a camper. I bought a camper, and that's what I'm living out of full-time currently. So I don't rent or have a mortgage or anything.
So was your plan to say, I'm going to get in touch with a landlord, I'll never even live there, I'm just going to say, hey, I see you have this place for rent, would you be willing to let me rent it out on Airbnb on your behalf while paying you rent?
Yes.
I mean, you can try that. I have high suspicions that almost no one will go for that, and there's also a lot of
or you would be
laws
stuck
and regulations.
with the rent. Opal, you would be stuck.
You're still
with
paying rent.
You would have to pay that if nobody was going to be living in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then
so
the
you would
liability.
still have that expense.
Who takes on the liability?
I would. I just figured that I just moved here. So I live in a city now that I thought it might be possible, but am hesitant, obviously, which is why I'm asking.
But legally,
the
you
question.
can't take liability for the entire house because you don't own the house. And so they've got their own homeowner's insurance. You're paying renter's insurance, which only covers your stuff inside. And so there's so many problems with this legally that I don't think it's a wise move. Even if you could do it, I think there's just still way too much risk, and there's better ways to make $400 a month.
Okay, and then so piggybacking off of that, so my goal is to go and graduate medical school debt-free. I guess, what do you recommend my steps that I take towards that are?
Where are you at financially now? Do you have any debt? Do you have any money saved?
Yeah, so I'll be done with baby steps 2 and 3 this month.
Oh, great.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
That's huge. And how much schooling do you have so far?
I have about a year and a half left is my undergrad, and then I'll apply for medical school next year.
Okay. And do you have any family helping out with covering college, or is it all on you?
No, it's the military is paying for everything.
Oh, wonderful. Even for medical school? How does that work? It only covers through undergrad?
Yeah, so the military will pay for 36 or for 4 years of your undergrad, but it doesn't account for medical school because the medical school is obviously more expensive.
Sure.
So the military will pay for almost half of medical school.
Oh, wow.
But the other half is the half that I'm concerned about.
Okay, and
Because I don't
have you priced out different schools?
Let's say the most affordable medical school, if you got into that school, what would it cost?
Probably around $200,000.
Just for the other 2 years or other half that is needed?
Yes.
Your half is 200 or total?
Yes. My half would be 200.
And how many years?
Medical school is 4 years, but I would get 2 years paid for, and then I would be responsible for the.
You're saying the most affordable medical school is $400,000?
No, I might have to go back and run some numbers, but the ones that I was doing research on was about $80,000 a year.
Okay, so maybe closer to 160 is what you might owe.
Yes.
So I would start looking at that and see, hey, I'll take a year or two and work and save up every penny I can and get some roommates.
Yep.
And can you work in between? What would you be doing in your field after undergrad?
So for my undergrad, my degree is in pre-medicine. I currently work part-time as a physical therapy tech, and then I'm in the reserves as well. And I DoorDash on the side just as a side hustle.
Great. So what are you making through all of that?
About $52,000 a year.
That's awesome.
And what kind of doctor do you want to be?
Emergency medicine.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Well, you're in a great position considering half of it's going to be paid for by the military. So I would do anything that I can to save up and, like you said, cash for this, even if it's pausing it for a year if I have to. But always remember that, Opal, when we go into a doctor's office, we're not looking to see where they went to school. And so we get stuck on the pedigree so easily, and especially with higher degrees like this, law school, medical school, go to the cheapest one you can find. That would be my suggestion.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.